Starting lineup, uniforms, and apparel present the WOA Senior AA Men's Hockey League podcast. Hello once again, everybody. Andrew Rogers here, the host of the WOAA Senior AA Men's Hockey League podcast. This is episode number 20. Yes, that's right, number 20. We're all the way up to 20 now. It just keeps free-flowing, 3 a week. So, the numbers just keep on rising. The viewership numbers and the episodes. So it's great to have you guys back once again for another episode. Yes, I am the host, Andrew Rogers. That is my name. I want to thank Mitch Scott of Starting Lineup, Uniform and Apparel, for being the presented sponsor. It's great to have him on board with us and helping us out with that. Previous episode, we had Jeremiah Goodacre and we had Matt Slotwinski of the Petrolia Squires on. They were wonderful. That podcast was honestly so fun to do, and it was just a blast from start to finish with them. Onward and upward, though, we have upcoming. There's a lot of great episodes upcoming. I want to take a look, though, specifically at next week. Next week on the podcast, on Monday, we have Tim McNaughton, the general manager of the Milverton four-wheel drives. That comes up on Monday. On Wednesday, I believe, let me see here if I can remember correctly. Let me just pull out my little thing here. Yes, we have Matt Getz of the Tavistock Royals. He comes onto the podcast on Wednesday. And then on Friday next week, we have Adam Kowalik and Tyler Harrison of the Minto 81s coming on the podcast. So it's a great lineup of guests next week. And you know what? There's no shortage of tremendous guests right here on the WA Senior AA Men's Hockey League podcast. So without further ado, we're going to introduce today's guests. They are from the second place Shelburne Muskies, 17-5 last year. They played key roles with the Shelburne Muskies last season to their success, and we're pleased to welcome them in now. Starting goaltender number 29, Edward Davey, and the captain, number 27, Chris Greer.
It's at this time that we welcome in our guests for this today's episode of the podcast, episode number 20. From the Shelburne Muskies, we have starting goaltender number 29, Edward Davey, and below. And we got to my right, your left, the captain, number 27, Chris Greer. Guys, thanks for doing this. Welcome to the podcast.
Cheers. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Guys, first question I ask everybody is just to get an idea of how you guys are doing. I mean, COVID hit everybody a little bit differently. I just wondered how it was affecting you guys and if you guys are doing all right, what you guys have been up to. Chris, you can start with you if you want.
Yeah, for sure. For me, I was one of the lucky ones. I got to my job kept going right through, so I've been working this whole time. So at least that's kind of kept me busy. The kids are doing good. They're hanging in there, trying to keep them busy. And other than that, we're just trying to find stuff to keep them busy all the time. So it's good.
For sure. Eddie, go ahead, man.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of the same there. My work kept going. I'm doing employment counseling, but I'm doing it from home. Good. So that's been a hassle because there's not a lot of jobs hiring right now. So it's kind of just going in cycles. But it's been good. Kept the paychecks coming. Actually got engaged 2 months ago.
Hey, congratulations, man.
That's what quarantine will do you, I guess, eh?
Yeah, congrats, buddy.
If you can quarantine with someone, you can survive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Without killing each other yet.
Man, just wait till about a year from now, and there's all these quarantine babies out there. All right, man.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. No, but I'm just missing sports, man. I'm just missing being on the ice and missing slow pitch.
Oh yeah, do you play slow pitch, Edward?
Yeah, I love it. Second base. I love it. I look forward to it every summer. I love it.
Yeah, so I mean,
I know Greer. I'm no Greer with his hardball and his flow there, but no, I love it.
Yeah.
So where would you guys typically play at this time?
You go ahead.
Where?
Eddie.
Yeah, where?
Well, I'm in Orangeville, right? So okay. We're playing. It's called Rotary Park there. So we have about 20 team league, okay. And the town is actually looking to get a proposal. So the league is looking to put a proposal in to see how we can do it and still kind of social distance and stuff. So if the town's willing to look at a proposal and see if we can get at least half a season going. So that's a positive, but it's not looking good. I'm just fingers crossed.
Yeah, it's really disappointing in that sense for sure. And then Chris, I guess we kind of a lot. Oh, here you go, Chris. Yeah. Now that we've switched spots here, I guess. So where would you typically be playing?
Normally I play in baseball league. It's called the North Dufferin Baseball League. It's so basically same thing. There's I play at a New Lowell. So there's about, I think last year there's around it was 16, 18 teams, something like that.
Okay.
From all over, kind of Midland, Bolton, Allison had a team, Mansfield. So yeah, same thing. Just recently, I think it was a couple weeks ago, due to COVID, they had to call off the season just because with all the restrictions and stuff. Even if the rules open up a little bit, it was going to be too much for them to try and handle. So unfortunately, it's done for this year, but hopefully they can sort some stuff out and we get back to sports eventually. So
yeah, like I mean, everybody knows
NHL playoffs going soon.
yeah.
Well, that's just it, right? Like everybody knows that like the health and safety of everybody is the main importance, right? I mean, we can all agree on that. But at the same time, I mean, for guys like us that are predominantly have sports in our lives all the time, to have this huge gaping hole is just really tough on everybody.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Sorry,
driving
go
me
ahead.
nuts, man.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying it's driving me nuts.
No doubt. Guys, now I want to talk about the season last year for the Shelburne Muskies. It was probably one of the most impressive seasons that Shelburne's put together, I believe, in recent memory anyways. Like, I think a lot of teams out there were surprised that the fact that you guys finished 17-5 and finished second. What do you say to that? Like, how do you guys look back on the season?
You want to go first, Eddie?
Sure. I think it was our start. I think we came out of the gate hot and kind of just kept rolling with it. So generally in years past we've kind of, I wouldn't say stumbled out of the gate, but we didn't just come out and get a tear and get the confidence right off the hop. And I think that kind of just stayed with us the whole year. And it was just, the more we won, the more it was fun to come to the rink, and practices had everyone there, and we just all bought in from the very beginning, and that kind of just resonated through the whole season. So that was huge. That was the biggest part for me. What do you think, Greer?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Eddie on that. We right from training camp, Coach Hoagie, he had a great training camp there, and like the record was a little bit surprising, but with what I saw at the start of the year with the young guys that we brought in this year, and then obviously the goaltending that we got, our depth, I think, kind of surprised a lot of people, but it didn't really surprise me too much. Just lines 1 through 4 were any given night, any line could score, and that was kind of the advantage we had the whole season, was we didn't have to rely on 2 or 3 guys to carry us through. We had 4 lines that could put the puck in the net, and then obviously just the ability, knowing you can make a mistake with goalies like that behind you, right? So it was it was a lot of fun.
I will say to that point though, some of the younger kids, I should have mentioned this right off the hop, some of the new rookies we got bought into the system right away, and they were huge. Like Colton was huge for us. Like there was just everyone that came in, defense, forwards, it was just, they all bought in, they played their role, and right away, they didn't take that transition period to become a Muskie. They were right from training camp, they were a Muskie, and it was fun to see. It was fun to be a part of that part too.
Now, the interesting part that you guys say is, like, you guys talk about practice, being loaded at practice. You talk about games and a heavy turnout. It's an interesting comparison to my last guest on the podcast from Petrolia that kept talking about having only 10 guys come out every night for a game, and then talk about a week practice show out. Like, the difference is unreal in terms of how successful a team can be and how unsuccessful a team can be. Would you agree with that, guys?
Yeah, 100%. I've obviously been around the Muskie organization for a while, right? And we've had some great years. We've had some rough years, and the years that we were at the bottom of the standings, I feel exactly what Petrolia guys are saying, right? We were lucky to get 9-10 guys at a practice. Same thing, you're showing up the games with 12, 13 skaters, and it's hard. It could be your best 12 or 13 skaters, but you show up night after night like that, and you can't win in this league anymore. It's such a good league, and
100%.
Everyone's solid, so you need everyone. We get it. We all have work. We all have stuff going on, right? But you got to make a pretty big commitment, and it shows with all, not just our team, but with a lot of the teams, right? Who's practicing and who's not. So,
Eddie,
well,
would
yeah,
you?
What's that?
Sorry, I was just gonna say, as a goalie, like how that's got to be difficult on a goalie when you're playing in front of a team, like in front of less amount of guys than you would normally that you should, right?
Oh, 100%. It's what I was gonna say, the consistency. So when you get used to practicing with this certain lineup, and you get used to practicing with these certain D-men in front of you, and years past we'd have, guys not show up and guys not come to practice or guys not buy in. You don't find that consistency, and with consistency comes confidence from the whole team to rely on each other and know where everyone's going to be in their spots, and especially being a goalie, knowing where your D is going to be and what kind of breakout we're going to do, and just having that consistency game in, game out was huge this year. And we had everyone buy in. We always had loaded, like when we came to practice years past and we had 10, I was almost like, great. we're going to have a decent practice. This year, if we came and we had anything less than 15, it was like, where is everyone? Where is everyone? And it's never kind of been like that before. So it was a totally different mindset that we found, and it just helped with our consistency all year long.
Now, it was really interesting. I was speaking a little bit to this before we got rolling here, but this season, probably one of the most competitive it's ever been with the new rule change coming into effect just before the season. You guys were in a dogfight, man. Those top 4 seeds just kept flip-flopping all year long. I guess from a player's perspective, I mean, from a fan's perspective, it was amazing to watch. But from a player's, was it as fun as it looked? Was it a little bit stressful? Like, can you speak to that a little bit, guys?
Yeah, I'll go first. For me personally, man, it was a lot of fun. It was we obviously play this game because we love it, and we're all playing because we want to play competitive hockey. But man, you knew every night you showed up, every time you had a game, you had to play a good game. Like, it didn't matter where you were going. If you were going to Clinton, if you were going to Lucknow, if you were going to Shallow Lake, if you were anybody, Palmerston, everywhere you went, you had to show up and play, because if you didn't, they were going to hang a loss on you. And it, like you said, it was a dogfight, but it was a lot of fun. So,
and that was the best part, was finally being in the thick of things where we could standings watch and keep track of them without kind of, judging playoff position. We were literally looking for first, and we were gunning for it all year. So every single game we played mattered towards first place. And that was it was such a goal for us. And, closer to the end of the year, when I don't think there was too big of a gap, but where it wasn't mathematically attainable, we still had that drive, because we had gone through it all year long. So that drive kind of went from wanting first place to kind of punching into the playoffs. And it was kind of, we found that even keel between that, and we found that drive throughout the year, because we were constantly striving for one goal. And that made it a lot more fun.
Chris, I want to ask you, like, one of the things I talked with Jeremiah Goodacre from Petrolia on Wednesday was about his years as the captain of the franchise. And now I want to ask you kind of the same kind of question, because, like, it's such a great distinction to be named captain no matter what level. How honored were you to be selected, and what did it mean to you?
Yeah, obviously, like you said, anytime you're named captain, no matter where you're playing, whether it's novice all the way up to playing senior, right? It's always an honor to wear it. And like I said, like, coming to this organization as a young kid, like, I remember the guys, Greg Patton, I think, was captain back then when I was playing, and just kind of learning from those guys, because you come in as a 22-year-old straight out of junior, thinking you're just gonna run through this league and do whatever you want, right? And then it's guys like that kind of help you out along the way, making you realize, like, you're playing with men, and you just learn from them, right? So, and then I try and do the same thing now that I'm kind of getting up there in age too. It's just try and help out any of the young kids that are coming through, or any of them, and just, you just always want to kind of lead by example, right? I don't always, especially in our dressing room, I don't always have to say a whole lot. It's just go out on the ice and do what you can, lead that way. And then obviously, like you said, playing in a town like Shelburne, every time you're at the rink, especially when you got a letter on your jersey, right? Those kids are run around. They all know who you are, and guys like Eddie, they love him, and
Sure.
yeah, it's awesome. It's a great honor to be a captain, like you said, and then especially in this league. This league's so good, and it's a lot of fun.
Right on, man. Hey, Eddie, everybody loves Eddie. Eddie, talk about Chris, man. Talk about how great of a captain he is, and just talk about his importance when it comes to the Shelburne Muskies.
Well, he's been my captain. I've been on this. I think last year was my sixth season as the Muskies goalie there. And
yep, 6.
Chris he's been the backbone since I got here. So he showed me the ropes when I was new. And like you said, when I was coming out of school in Boston, there, Westfield State, and I heard good things about this league, but for me it was kind of a way to just wrap up the hockey career, and I was gonna have some fun. And the minute I kind of met Greer and some of the boys before, and you just see that there's that passion and there's that drive and the importance of it. And it's definitely not a men's league. It's a really good league. And then when you get a captain like Greer right off the hop, you realize that quick. Your mindset goes from, okay, let's have some fun and let's wind this career down to let's do something here. This is the closest I've played in my hometown since when I was 18. And so I'm from Orangeville, so it's 20 minutes away, and right. It's just you find that passion right away. And when you got a captain like Greersy that brings it every practice, every game, he's coming from Wasaga Beach and he's making it constantly all the time. We've had some snowstorms, and he still gets there for a 9:30 p.m. practice. When we got boys, not last year, but in years past, coming from Orangeville or even Shelburne that wouldn't make the practice, and we got Greersy coming from Wasaga Beach. Hail or full snowstorm, he's making there every practice. It just drives the point home that this matters more than it's more than just fun, and it's more than just us. It's a passion. It's something that drives us, and he brings it. And it's been huge.
Wicked words there, Greersy. That's awesome.
Yeah. I think I owe him a few drinks for that.
It wasn't set up on
He is a man of few words, though. He's a man of few words, but the words he does say, they matter. So he's not one of the guys that spouts. I'm not trying to keep gumming you here, Chris, but he's not one of the guys that just talks to be heard. Right. He talks because he has a point to make, and he drives it home. And then he backs his words up with actions every time. So
and people listen.
It's just been 100%. The minute he talks in that room, because it's not like we hear his voice all the time. Because I've had some captains that it's just, they berate rookies. They're loud, boisterous in the room. They own the room constantly. And then when they say something that's important, you're just so used to hearing them talk that it doesn't sink in.
Gotcha.
But with Greersy, it's if you need during the between second and third period, if you need that one little pep talk, and it'll just come from the corner of the room. And once he speaks up, everyone listens, and it's been wonderful having him back there for sure.
Well, there you go, Greers. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. Thank you.
And now, Chris, we were talking a little bit. You've been in this league a long time. Like, it's obviously changed a ton since you first entered, no question about it, and more in recent years. What's the biggest thing you've noticed in how it's changed in the time you've been here?
Honestly, man, the speed and the skill in this league. When I first joined this league, trust me, there's been some good players all along, throughout the whole time that I've been here. But yeah, most teams, the good teams, had 2, maybe 3 lines of skilled guys, and then a kind of crash and bang line. Nowadays, when you're going in, teams have 3-4 solid lines coming at you every single night. And then obviously the speeds just got quicker and quicker every year. And the skill, like Eddie said, this is his 6th year, coming straight out of college, you knew he was a special goaltender. Some of these guys coming out of junior C, junior B, junior A, just the hands they got on them and the shots, the skills got that much better. And it doesn't look like it's going to slow down anytime soon, which is awesome because more and more people are catching wind that this is we obviously have a lot of fun in that dressing room and all the teams I think in this league do, but it's such a great league that I think more and more people are starting to find out about it and wanting to come play now when their junior career is done, which is awesome. So.
Well, and I think there's no question about it. This is the highest level of competitive hockey you can play after junior in this kind of in the age group anyways. Because like I say, You could play from the time you're 20 till you're in some cases 43. Like, I mean, it's just it's wild to think that there's that big of an age gap from the youngest person to the oldest person in this league. It's impressive.
Yeah. No, it is.
Eddie, what do you?
I do find it's getting younger, though. It is getting younger. When I got into this league, I remember every time we'd shake hands at the end of a game, there'd always be 2 or 3 plus 40 guys, and it's really gotten down to we're down to like a 22-year-old league, and the average age is probably around 23. From when I started, it was probably 27, 28. So, and that's what's bringing the speed too.
Eddie, it was interesting when we had the 3 goalies on last week, and obviously talking with Matt Slotwinski too, talking with Greg and Tommy and Jeff. Like, as a goalie, like, I mean, you know, obviously it's a unique perspective that you got on the game, and you can see how it's changed in the time you've been here.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's gone. There was always, not that it wasn't fast when I came in, because it definitely was. And I probably slowed down along the way too. So, but so it's maybe it's not getting faster. I'm just getting slower. Who knows? But you can tell year after year that the speed's increasing. That it went from it wasn't a bruiser league when I got here. It definitely had the name of it, but it wasn't. But slowly, year after year, the fighting and the after the whistle, it's just getting weeded out of the game, and it's getting replaced with speed, and it's getting replaced with good plays, and you know, every team now has a good power play and has some, you know, plays to make on the power play, and that's what's keeping the league so competitive, is that there's not any which team any given night that is going to absolutely dominate in all facets of the ice. Every team has their own little things that they bring, and it's just slowly every year, it's especially with coaching, and shout out to Hoagie on that for us, and I'm sure other teams can say the same about theirs, but it's the commitment, and it's the commitment to get better, and it's you can just tell that it's getting better and better and better year after year, and I'd say last year it was definitely the best I've ever played in this league for sure. Hands down. I'm very excited for next year to see what it brings too.
Absolutely. Guys, you know, it's funny, at least from my perspective, I got to watch you guys play 8 times. So there was a lot of players that I noticed out there, you guys included, that I was really, really impressed with. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on them real quick. First off is Colton McGuire, because, man, that kid is so good and so elusive back there. He comes in as a rookie, and he just dominates from the blue line. Can you guys speak to his game a little bit?
Hey, Gruzy, let me take this one real quick.
You got
it. Colton, he's got a hot streak to him on the ice. You talk to him in the dressing room, you wouldn't see it. He's a sweetheart in the dressing room. He's a calm, cool, collected kid.
Yeah.
Great conversations at practice, but you get him fired up in a game, he's taking 10s on 10s, and it's fun to watch. But skill wise, that kid has it. That kid impresses me with his breakout passing, his depth perception, coming back and playing defense. He's the whole package, really. And all year long, I was really, really impressed with how he adapted to the speed of the league, and B, he got better, and he molded into the speed of the game, and he pushed himself further and further and further every game almost. And you know, he was committed to practice, he was committed to the team, he was committed to the boys, and it was a pleasure having him this year. I will say that for sure from a goalie's perspective.
Greer, what do you want to say?
Yeah, no, it was awesome watching, like I said, watching a young kid like that step into this league, and you just tell from the first time he came on the ice, he read the game well. Very rarely would you ever see him at a position at all. And then if he did make a mistake, he didn't whine about it, didn't cry about it, just kind of sucked it up and just kept working harder. And like Eddie said, as the year went on, he started the year amazing, and as the year went on, he just kind of kept getting better, and that helped our D. It was awesome having another guy like him back there. Yeah, like you said, it just makes it easier for forwards to have him moving the puck up to us, and it was great.
The next person that I want to ask you guys about is Ty McCallum. I noticed like him early on in the season when we played you guys. I think it was like the 3rd game of the season we played you guys in Shelburne. He's such a dynamite player, and I know he was hamstrung by injury, and he missed a lot of the season with an injury, but he ended up coming back there when we played you guys in the playoffs. Like, speak to his impressive skill set, because he is such a talented player.
You want to go first again, Eddie? Or?
Yeah, sure. No, McCallum. We both, and I'm sure Grizzy will agree with me. We've seen him come into his own in the last couple of years playing with him. Like he was a shy, quiet kid. He's a local boy, so he's got that drive to be a Muskie and to win.
Sure.
But every year, and this year especially, he took leadership, and it was nice to see him come into his own in the dressing room, come into his own with just how he carried himself around the rink, and he held everyone accountable, which was nice, and it was just he was definitely a voice in the locker room, and he came out of his shell this year, and it was nice to be part of it and see that. I was proud of him for that for sure. And I mean, every time when he got hurt, we missed him on the ice very very much. So it was nice seeing that with him.
Yeah, Ty. Ty was awesome. He did he come around the same time I think you did, Eddie? He's been here for 5-6 years now, and like he came into this league as a 19-year-old. Always had speed, always had hands, and just every year you could see him kind of getting better. And like Eddie said, this year was just it was phenomenal. Like at the end of the year, you could see it in him, and this year, it was awesome. He kind of stepped in as another leader in the dressing room, which was great. But yeah, he owned it on the ice. Everything just kind of clicked this year, and he was lighting it up, which was great to see. And like Eddie said, every time he was out of the lineup, he was a guy that we missed a lot just because of the speed that he brings to the game and just that intensity. So, yeah, it was great to see.
Right on. Next one I want to ask you guys about, and I thought this player particularly was a shining muskie in that 6-game series against the 81s, and that was Jamie Bennett. He's just so impressive, and I was really impressed with his play in that series. Just such an elusive shot. Like, he's a big body out there, and he's got a lot of skill.
I'll do this quick, Grizzy, because I know you're forward, so you'll get it more. But with him, it was poise. It was patience and poise. And that shot that he could get off, and he would just have the patience to find the right area, not rush it, not be too quick with it. That he could just find the open areas, and that shot, it was like a Phil Kessel kind of shot. He'd find its holes, and he knew how to place it. And it was his patience and poise was what impressed me for sure.
Percy?
Yeah, Benny coming to this team, it was awesome, man. I had heard a little bit about him when I showed up to camp, and just watching him on the ice, like Eddie said, he's a total package. Like he's got great speed, great hands, and then he's just got that quick release, and he finds a way to get that shot off, and it's a hard shot too, but he's got such a quick release on it. Goalies don't have time to really react when he gets clear. It was great having a guy like him join the team this year, and it was perfect with him. He just kind of, like Eddie said, he just hopped in, fit right in with all the guys in the room, joking around, having a good time. And but once we got on the ice and got down to game time, he was a gamer.
And then the last player I want to ask you guys about is the leading scorer of the Muskies last year, Luke Richardson. Again, big body, assistant captain, leader on the ice, and obviously a leader amongst the point totals. But is he more than just the points? Like how impressive was he last year?
Oh yeah. So Greer, whoever follows Greer's shoes, he's gonna have big shoes to fill, and I could see Luke being the one to fill those shoes at some point later on, hopefully in 10 years from now, Grizzy. So, but
I don't know.
he's gonna have some big shoes to fill, but he's a leader. He's a true leader. The boys look up to him, they respect him. It was fun having his younger brother there, so he could bully him around a bit. But no, it's been fun playing with him all these years. But last year you could see that drive and that will to win, and every game he kind of came with that wanting to win, and being from the area, like he is the total package, and he uses his size well. He's got a nice shot. He's got he's not like that playmaker where it's just everything's fancy, but he just drives the net and gets the job done every time. And in those corners, I wouldn't want to go against him. So it's fun watching him. And it's been fun watching him play these last few years for sure.
And then Chris?
Yeah, no, Luke, like right from day one, Luke's been obviously a leading point getter on our team. And then every year he's just been more and more stepping up into that leadership role. He's definitely a guy I can rely on. Like I said, I don't always say a lot in the dressing room, but he's another guy that he can step up and he can get the guys going too when needed. So off the ice, like you said, definitely important guy there. And then, on the ice, he's, just that big body. He's hard to take the puck off. He's always working. And then, like Eddie said, it might not always be the fanciest way to score a goal, but he'll find a way to put the puck in the back of the net, whether he's scoring it or setting somebody up. So he's a fun guy to watch and a fun guy to play with.
Right on, guys. I love that. I want you guys to just speak a little bit about, if there are young guys coming into this league, which there are going to be no matter what moving forward, what would your sales pitch to them be as to why they should become a Muskie? Why, and not just for, the hometown, not for the drive and the convenience, but why join the Muskies and why become a part of the Shelburne organization? Chris, you want to start? Because you've been there a good time.
I can start.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a great group of guys to be around with. First, in that dressing room, like I said, once we get into game time and stuff like that, obviously we go on the ice just like every other team in the league. You're there to win. But the group of guys we got, great group of guys. And then behind the scenes, not behind the scenes, our head coach, Hoagie, he's up there, got to be in the top 3 coaches that I've ever played for. Such a smart coach, just the way he sees the game and the way he strategizes it. It's amazing to watch him work. And then our executive, we got probably one of the better executive in the league. They're always busting their butt trying to get everything they can for us. They're there at all the games. They pretty much every road game, there's a handful of them that are always there. So it's a great team to kind of come join. And then obviously the hockey itself, it's good hockey. So it's worth taking a look at anyways. So
Eddie, what about you, man? Sales pitches.
I'm gonna hit a point that Greer's it's our fans. Our fans are something special. So
I can attest to that.
I played 6 years in this league, and we've had some dog years. We've had some where if I was a fan of the Shelburne Muskies, I think I would be not watching too much Shelburne Muskies anymore. So we've had some rough times where we're rebuilding, and our fans stuck it out with us. There was just a handful of kids at every game they'd come rain, snow, they'll go to Ripley. They'll follow us everywhere, and they love watching us play. It's been the same kind of core group of fans, and then with the winning culture that we've kind of created, that core group of fans that just stayed so true to us has kind of evolved, and it's just kind of grown. And I'm not trying to say it's a following, but it's that we have people that truly care, that truly want to see us win, and truly want to see have fun being a part of it. And it's being a small town, in a it's small town driven league too. It's nice, and in my opinion, being up there in fan support, and this is what drives us. And that's we don't get gate sales. We're not being able to afford to keep going, and they drive us. So, but beyond that, we definitely are back end with our executives and everybody helping out there. They've all just done their own part. They've really kept us afloat. Carrie and Pam, who are behind the scenes, but have just been workhorses for us to keep us going and keep the Shelburne Muskies come back every year. And it's, we give them grief about sometimes if we have to spend a little money here and there, and they take the brunt of it, but they do their best to kind of keep the costs down at a very minimal and to make it just enjoyable for us that we can just focus on the game and rather than all the off ice fundraisers and stuff, which we do help with obviously, but they do the job of setting it all up and making everything run smoothly. And I couldn't thank them more for that. And they've been here since I got here. So and Barry Trude's been awesome for us too. He's a stand-up guy. You can see the passion every game. He barely misses games. And it's been great playing for him. And just it would be fun to win with these guys. So it keeps me coming back for sure.
Yeah, no, Barry's fantastic. We had him on the podcast earlier, and like in speaking to him a bunch of times throughout the season, I just it was great just to be able to pick his brain on a lot of things and just talk hockey with him because he's got a lot of experience when it comes to this league. Guys, we're going to take a little short break, and then we'll come right back. I got some more questions for you. We are back for part 2 of the podcast. We're pleased to be joined with Edward Davey, number 29, starting goaltender of the Shelburne Muskies, and captain number 27, Chris Greer. Guys, my next question to you at this point is if you guys had to look back on your entirety of your hockey career, usually there's a certain person or persons that you can look back and you could say, these guys had a huge influence on me and why I'm a part of this game, why I love this game. Like, who would you say is your biggest influence there? Whoever can go first, take the lead.
Go ahead, Eddie.
I don't mean to give the standard answer, but it's been my old man for sure. He's been a driving force, but he was a goalie himself. He played some junior B back in the day, and he's just kind of – I mean, he's the reason I'm a goalie, so it's his fault, which I still curse him to this day for that. But, no, it's just he's been there for me my whole career. And, you know, he's made trips up to Timmins when I played up north. He's made trips down to Boston to watch me play at Westfield. He's living on the lake now up in the Kawarthas there, and he still makes it he'll still make it to Shelburne for you know, five games a year, and he made a few playoff games. Like it's a long drive for him, it's a long haul. So he's just been there, and he's the guy they call after games, and it's been fun playing for him all these years, and to be able to keep doing it and to be able to kind of still have him come to my games and care and have that passion right alongside me, it's special. It's special to be at 30 years old to still have that with your old man, and that's, you know, that's something I'm definitely when I do hang him up, that's something I will definitely miss. And it's been a big key cornerstone of our relationship, father-son relationship has been hockey, and it's been fun sharing it with him for sure.
That's awesome, Eddie, man. I can really appreciate it. That's really wicked, dude. Chris, what about you, man?
Yeah, like you said, give the same answer Eddie did for a bit. My parents, obviously my mom and dad, when you're younger, right, they're the ones driving you around to the early morning practices and, you know, kind of pushing you all the way. Beyond that, you know, I was pretty lucky growing up in minor hockey. I had Richard Spellman, Richard Gauthier. They coached me at a young age. They both went on. They both played some good junior hockey, and they were both went on to coach junior C and provincial junior A. So learning from them at a young age, and then as I got older, I got to play junior with Richard Gauthier as my coach again, which was awesome. And then when I went to Waterloo, I had a great coach there in Jerry Harrigan. The man was around hockey from day one, and he knew a lot. I learned a lot off of him, just kind of how to play the game properly. And, you know, it was great playing for a guy like him. So.
Right on, guys. No, I always like asking that question because it's always nice to be able to hear the real, you know, stuff that like this league can be funny, right? Because you go out to a game and you're just like, yeah, okay, there's a hockey game being played. You know, we're gonna go and we're gonna get smashed at the bar later. Like, this adds a real element.
We don't do that.
No, you don't do that. No. But you know what I mean, though. It's like that's the whole purpose of this, in a sense, is to get people to know you guys, and that's what drives me to do this podcast, is because it's allowing the viewers, the people that watch this, to get to know you guys on more of a personal level, so they can have that added attachment to figure out why this league is so good, like Chris said.
Well, and then to follow up on that, like Eddie said, man, like with Shelburne, like going to the rink nowadays, like he said, like those kids that show up all the time, man, that makes it easy to show up there. And now I got kids myself, right? So them being able to come watch me play is pretty awesome too. So it's good.
You're a lucky man for that. I wish that's one thing that that's the one of the main reasons I haven't put the pads up yet, is I'd love to have that opportunity one day too. So.
Hey, Eddie, in due time, buddy.
Yeah, for sure.
Now that you're engaged and everything, all right?
Yeah, now we got one step closer.
Chris, actually speak to that for me, will you? Because that is one of the neat things about this league, is being able to play in front of your kids. Like, what like, do you remember like the first game that one of your kids watched you play in, like, and how special that was for you?
Oh yeah, man. You know, like it was just after the game, well, just the fact, like knowing he's there in the stands, right? Like we've all been there. We've all played sports growing up, like you get that feeling, like, when your parents are watching you and stuff like that. But when it's your kid sitting in stands watching you, totally different feeling. It's pretty cool. And then, getting off the ice and he's waiting there. I couldn't even tell you what the score of the game was. I don't know if we won, if we lost, if I scored a goal. Just having him there waiting for you, give you a big hug after the game. Came into the room, wanted to see the boys, right, man? That's awesome. And then now that he's getting into hockey, it's even better. And then my daughter, she'll be 4 in the summer, so hopefully hopefully we get a season going. It'd be nice to get her out to come see a game and stuff too. So yeah, it's cool, man.
Pads on her.
Yeah.
No, man, no pads. Pads.
No,
Goalies
that's a joke. Man. That is a joke. Don't do it. Don't put her through it.
Goalies, man. That's an expensive position, man.
We're a different breed, man. We're a different breed.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Hey, speak to that a little bit, Eddie. I want to ask you about that because I was telling Chris before you came on there. The goaltending tandem or trio in Shelburne last year was one of the most impressive I've seen. You, Ryan Mantle, and Malcolm Young. Can you talk about working with those two guys throughout the season and what that was like to be a part of that?
Oh, it was by far phenomenal. I wouldn't have had close to the year I had, and if I wasn't able to have two guys that were right there ready to step in at any point. Like I didn't play a single back-to-back game. My body can't take anymore. I'm falling apart piece by piece here, and I just couldn't do the Friday, Saturdays. It takes a toll on your body, and to have someone that can grab those pipes from you and being here for 6 years, it's hard to give that net up. And not that I wouldn't want to, but it's hard to watch someone else in your crease in a sense.
Sure.
But to be able to trust someone that's going to step in and he's going to do the job night in, night out, just like in those playoffs where we went game for game and double overtime loss. He held us in every game he played in that series. It's just nice knowing that, and knowing that, one day I'm not going to be here anymore, and that I'm given the net to someone that can hold his own and that is going to make this town as proud as I've always tried to do. So it's been huge. It's been huge. And honestly, they're great locker room guys too. And we're very supportive in practices, and we all get along great. And it's been a pleasure to work with both of them for sure.
That's awesome, Eddie. I was really hoping that you'd say something along those lines. That's wicked, dude. We've waited long enough, guys, that I want to get down to the series against Minto, the 6 games. So, I got to tell you guys, honestly, from my perspective, it was probably one of the greatest playoff series I had ever watched, been a part of. And to not playing or not playing, it was just so fun to be on from a viewer's perspective at least, and to be able to call those games from start to finish. From a player's perspective, what was it like for you guys to be a part of that? Obviously, you don't get the result you're hoping for because you guys get eliminated in 6. But speak to the series.
Go ahead, Eddie. You can start. It was a blast. It was back and forth, and I'd say goaltending was on point. I got pulled one game, but we'll forget about that.
I remember we talked about that.
It was I could have had a better game, but Malcolm stepped in for that game, and we went back and forth after that, and it was, from a goalie's perspective, it was a blast. It was a blast. There was goals scored. It was high scoring, a lot of shots, a lot of action. We both had crowds, and it was both barns we were in. It was kind of, it was nail biting, and it was, we had 2 or 3 overtime games, or 2 overtime games.
One ended up late. We scored late, and then the empty netter late in the third. But the one overtime game that you guys won in Shelburne, and then we won the double overtime game.
Yeah. So 2, and it was just, it could have went either way really, and to be a part of that finally after 6 years of waiting it out and waiting to, playoffs to be a push and to have that chance, we had it. And I thought we did everything we could with that chance. Going out in double overtime like that, that's nothing to hang your hat on. So I'm proud as hell of the boys. We did everything we could to make that series go for us, and it just didn't. And it was fun to be a part of.
What about you, Chris, man?
Yeah, no. that was definitely it was definitely a great series. Man, that Mapleton team, what can you say? Like, where we finished in the standings, to be honest, if their season didn't start the way it started, I truly believe, like we talked about earlier, I truly believe they would have been kind of in the top 3 anyways. So playing them in the first round, we knew it wasn't going to be easy. We knew they were a great team, and it was awesome. It was fast-paced hockey. For the most part, it was hard hitting, and for the most part, it was clean hockey. And like I said, you said it wasn't the result we were looking for, but that's hockey, right? We did everything we could. Mapleton just had the better game, won that game in double overtime. If we could have got to a game 7, you never knew what would happen. But no, it was a great series, and at the end of the day, for the younger guys moving forward, hopefully, most of them continue playing in this league, and it's a great learning curve for everyone involved, because moving forward, you learn from that, and you just kind of learn. That's what the good teams, they step up, and that's what Mapleton did in that series. As we did, they just got the better end of it. So
sure, no, I like I say, fantastic series, guys. Honestly, and from a personal standpoint, honestly, for watching you guys 8 times, man, I kept saying to everybody that you guys were so much more impressive than a lot of people gave you credit for. It was just such an intense series. Both teams battled. It was hard hitting. It was hard checking. The crowds were electric, like you said. Every time I came down to Shelburne, man, they were so gracious. I was sitting right in the middle of the crowd, man. It was wild, but it was just so much fun, man. And they were all so great. And like I say, I thought your team, one of the classiest organizations that I've ever been able to be a part of, and really top to bottom, nothing but good things to say about you guys.
Appreciate that.
I want to ask you, one of the last few questions I have is, when you guys look back at your hockey career, can you guys pick out maybe a moment that stands out above the rest that you guys can recall, one that you guys would like to share with us?
You want to go first, Eddie?
Well, I missed the first part of that.
Sorry, I just wanted to know, if you had a moment during your hockey career that you remember fondly that might have stuck out above the rest.
Oh, for sure. For me, it was when I played in the junior A up in North NOJHL when we won the league. Going to play in the Dudley Hewitt Cup. It was just this tournament that was next level. It was put on by. It was just class all around. So it's the Junior A Ontario Championships, and it was an absolute blast to be able to play in that. And especially coming from the north, in the NJHL, it's kind of like a league like the WOAA, where there's smaller towns, and it's more of a tight-knit kind of league. It's not like the OPJHL or the OJHL now, where it's big cities. It's smaller towns. So I was playing in a small town, Iroquois Falls. Abitibi-Eskim was there, and just being able to represent that league in that tournament, prestigious tournament, was by far one of my best memories as a goalie, for sure.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool. How about you, Chris? You've been around a long time. I'm sure you got some stories.
Yeah, no. Well, back to the minor hockey days. I was fortunate enough to win a couple OMHA titles. So obviously those were great when I was younger. Junior days were a lot of fun. But I think it was one of the best memories and one of the worst memories at the same time was actually playing for the Muskies here. We were actually in the North Finals against Saugeen Shores, and they had us on the ropes. They actually had us down 3-0 in the series. We fought back all the way to force a Game 7, and unfortunately we lost that in triple overtime up in Port Elgin. But I can, man, it was probably some of the best. It was probably the best time I've had playing hockey. We'd show up to the games in Shelburne, and we're showing up, we're talking 8:00 game time. So we're showing up at the rink at, 6:30, 6:45, and the fans are already starting to pile in Shelburne. By the time you stepped on the ice for warm up, it was already packed. same thing up in Port Elgin. Our fans followed us up in a bus, and you show up in Port Elgin, and the place was packed. Like for Game 7, I don't think you could have fit another body in there. Unfortunately, like I said, we lost that game, but just the fact that we were down 3-0, we never gave up and fought our way back and to force a Game 7. And like I said, we didn't get the result we wanted. And then Saugeen ended up going on to the finals and sweeping the finals. So,
Sure.
yeah, but it was great. And like I said, our fans in Shelburne, they're some of the best fans going. But yeah, that was probably one of the best memories I've had playing.
That's awesome, man. That's a good one. I can appreciate that.
Hey, this isn't fair to do to us right now during COVID. I will put pads on right now. That story just gave me some goosebumps there, Cruzy.
Yeah.
This is not fair to do right now.
Yeah.
So when it comes to this idea of next season and when and if that does happen, what it's going to look like, what are your guys' opinions on that? Like, how are you guys feeling about the possibility of next season? Like, are you worried that there may not be one? Are you worried that it's going to be shortened season? What are your thoughts, or what are your feelings going into this?
Go ahead, Eddie.
I'm not worried yet. I mean, it took away my baseball season this summer, as we were saying before this. At least we got golf right now, but I'm not letting myself worry about that yet. I'm not there yet. I still have hope that we'll figure this out. I feel like Ontario's been pretty good with dealing with this stuff that's going on around us. So I'm not there yet. I'm not there that way yet, but we better have a season. That's all I can say. Drop the puck. Like, we better have a season. Gruzy's not getting any younger.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And what do you think, Greer?
Yeah. I'm kind of with Eddie on that. I'm trying not to look too far into the future. Like he said, I play baseball as well, so that season just got canceled. I'm hoping, I think like everyone else everywhere, that we can kind of figure this thing out and get through. I honestly hope that we don't have to shorten the season. There is a good possibility, and obviously, at the end of the day, we want to look after everyone's health and safety out there. But you hope that kind of by then we've kind of got a good handle on it, and we can get back to playing. And hopefully there's not too many restrictions on type of rules they got to put into place, because then that could make things difficult as well.
And on this note, I just got in January. I had a new custom glove come in, like January. And it's sitting on. I'm having my fiance throw tennis balls at me because he's the only one. So it's gotta happen. There's gonna be a season.
Oh yeah, she'll have your head if you can't use it.
Oh yeah.
Don't make her mad, because then she'll throw more than just tennis balls at you.
Oh, that's good stuff. So I guess the last thing I want to ask you guys. So if and when there is a season, is it safe to assume that both of you guys will be back with the Muskies next season?
Go ahead, Eddie.
Yeah, I knew Greer would pass that one on to me. We will fight the last day of tryouts there with Gruzy.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna be back.
There you go.
Body hasn't fallen apart yet, and COVID's only making me fatter, so I gotta lose a bit of that weight. So now I'm gonna be back, and I look forward to it.
Greer, you coming back?
Yeah, I've kind of, Eddie will attest to this. I think the last 4 or 5 years, it's always been, we'll wait and see how it goes. Honestly, yeah, I'd love to come back. It depends obviously on the whole COVID situation, to keep the health and safety of everyone. And then at the end of the day, it's my family too, right? Like I said, my boy's getting into hockey now. His schedule the last couple of years have worked out well, that I've been able to still help out with his team and still be able to play myself. So as long as the schedules line up and everything, and there's not too many restrictions on it, yeah, I'd like to come back. So
right on. All right,
yeah.
Guys, any last words before we sign off here? I'll let you guys get some last words in if you'd like.
I got some real quick. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'm sure everyone in the league would attest this. we appreciate what you do, Andrew. I've never had this in my 6 years here. I've had it in leagues past, and it's awesome. It's awesome being able to, after a game, kind of check out everything that's going on and get the updates, and you just bring more of a personal feel to the league, and I definitely, and I know everyone else agrees with me, that we appreciate it. You're doing a great job, and you're bringing out more and more content with it, and I'm excited to see what you got in store for us for next year, because it's been awesome having you.
A lot of stuff up here, Eddie.
Yeah.
Good.
No, yeah. To follow up on what Eddie's saying, this is amazing what you're doing. Getting this league out there. Like you said, a lot of people knew about it, but just the content you're bringing to everybody, and this show itself, this is amazing. And the hard work you've done, you did all season last year, and yeah, you're doing an awesome job. Yeah, keep it up.
So to that, like, I gotta respond to that. Like,
Yeah,
I just want, just so that everybody knows, right? Like, I'm not doing this for any admiration. I'm not doing this for any fanfare. I'm doing this for you guys, because this league is so phenomenal. You guys speak to the talent, and I see it. This league needs to be recognized because you guys deserve it. And if I can do any sort of thing to only make that more, like, to get that exposure out there to the people that don't know about it, then I'm going to do that, because I know it means something to you guys and it means something to me. And this league deserves that because of how great it is. So,
no, man, we appreciate it.
You're good at what you do too. You're the Steve Dangle of the WOA.
Easy.
Keep it going, man. You do a good job. It's not just that you bring the content; you do a good job with it too. So it's keep it coming.
Like I say, I'm not doing this to get buttered. I'm not a slice of bread. But like I say, I can appreciate you guys saying that, honestly, and you guys have been great. And you know what? At this time, like I say, I want to thank my guests for coming on today's episode of the podcast, number 20 from the Shelburne Muskies, number 29 Edward Davey, and the captain, number 27 Chris Greer. Guys, thanks a lot for being here. Thanks a lot for joining me today, and you're welcome back on anytime, and we'll talk again.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
My friend.
Anytime.
Once again, we want to say thank you to our guests on today's episode of the podcast, episode number 20, Chris Greer and Edward Davey of the Shelburne Muskies. It was great to have them on. Great to talk with them, talk hockey, and hear what they have to say. They're just tremendous people, and we're really happy to have them on today. Like I said, upcoming next week, great lineup of guests. Tim McNaughton on Monday, Matt Getz from the Tavistock Royals on Wednesday, and then Adam Kwolek and Tyler Harrison on Friday from the Minto 81s. That's going to put the wraps on today's episode and this past week of episodes of the podcast, WOA Senior AA Men's Hockey League podcast. I want to thank Edward Davey and Chris Greer. I want to thank Mitch Scott of Starting Lineup, Uniform and Apparel, and I want to thank you, the viewer, for watching yet another episode of the WOA Senior AA Men's Hockey League podcast, episode number 20. I'm Andrew Rogers, your host, saying have a